Joining us now, Asia Society Policy Institute's Rorry Daniels. It's good to see you, Rorry. And I'm trying to figure out how to characterize this, but on a scale of 1 to 10, given what has been happening lately, is this a big deal? The warning from China that this shouldn't happen? I mean, this is the same day that on the cover of the Wall Street Journal, China regulators are already delaying mergers in continuation or an extension of the technology war that we're having. We've got all this TikTok stuff. We had Putin and Xi together. We had Balloongate. I mean, is it really going to make it any worse than it already is, or it's just sort of just add another facet to this deteriorating relationship?
Well, thanks so much for having me this morning. And I totally agree with the characterization you've just laid out, that U.S.-China relations are in a really fragile and delicate state right now. There are a lot of issues on the bilateral agenda to talk about, to potentially resolve, and adding more tension into the Taiwan Strait certainly isn't helpful to talking through any of those agenda items.
Right. You make the point repeatedly, though, that the punishment could be inflicted on Taiwan in terms of this relationship that we have, more so than what even happens in the United States. Now, what does that look like? There could be a blockade again, or what does that look like? What would they do to Taiwan to register their displeasure?
Well, I think they've already signaled that they plan to repeat the actions that they took when then House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited Taiwan last August, and that included a simulated blockade of the island, massive military exercises around the island, and shooting missiles over Taiwan into the territorial waters of Japan. So I think we can at least see that much pressure coming back after today's meeting between Tsai and Speaker McCarthy. But I do think Beijing is going to wait and see what the results of this meeting are, what the press messaging is, how it's handled in the United States and by the U.S. government before they decide what a full and proportionate response would be. So the economic impact here, I think, is less, something that's Beijing is going to do to the U.S. or to Taiwan in the immediate future, and more about this longer-term growing risk of shutting down the sea lanes of communication in and around the Taiwan Strait, where a massive percentage of global trade does travel every day.
Right. Does China want us to more clearly define what strategic ambiguity means, or are they satisfied with the way that we characterize what would happen if they were to move on Taiwan?
Either. They would not like us to define what strategic ambiguity means or come to strategic clarity, which really means that the U.S. would signal in advance that it would come to Taiwan's aid through military means, no matter what the altercation between the two sides of the strait would be. But nor do they really want us to, create more U.S.-Taiwan ties that strengthen our relationship in other ways. So I think Beijing is relatively unhappy with the development of U.S.-Taiwan relations over time, and these political meetings are a signal of those growing ties. On the U.S. side, we really see this as a response to Chinese pressure on Taiwan, which is growing since Tsai Ing-wen came to power in 2016.